Namaste. I want to get through the end of the book today. If it doesn't happen, then tomorrow I have a very little to do. Have 5 sutras left, and pretty much most of them are kind of long. But I'll try to finish it. If not, so be it. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Nicotine. Okay. Namaste. Sthānyu panimanantareno. Sthānyu panimanantaran. Sthānyu panimanantaranue. Sangangasmaya karanam. Punaranishita prasangangat. Jatavaraha Karvami Yoginaha Pratamakaripiko Matupumikaha Prajinya Jyotiratik Rananta Pavaniya Shichati almost. Prajinya Jyotiratik Rananta Prajinya Jyotirati. Wow. I think I'm reading a lot of Bhagavad Gita with 73 verses is making me a little tired. I'll try though. Prajinya Jyotirati Krananta Bhavani Yashichati Tatra Pyasi Pravritatama Jyotiha. I'm not sure what I said. Pravritatama Jyotiha. Okay. Pratamaha. Bhattam Paraprajinyo Tvitiyaha. Pudanandriyajayi Tritiyaha Salveshu Pabiteshu Pavaniyeshu Gritarakusho Banantaha Kaltavyasa Tanadiman Jatulto Yasat Patikrananta Pavaniyastasya Chittaprati Salga Ekoltaha Sabutavitasya Prananta Pumi Prajinya Tatra Matumatim Pumim Sakashat Kulvato Brahmanosya Sithanino Devaha. Alright, I just want to make sure there's a dot there. I think it's supposed to be there. I'm seeing things right now. Okay, where was I? What was the Tatra Matnya? Okay. Sithanino Devaha Sattva Vishuddhati Manupashyanantaha. And there's number 1. Tavashu, 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 Tavashu or Tavashu? Sattavashu. Yeah, okay. Sattva Shuddhati, Sattva Shuddhati Manupashyanantahu. I'm gonna read the original again. Sorry for today. Sattva Vishuddhati Manupashyanantahu. Satanai Rushami. Satanai Rushanima. This is wow, it's fuzzy. Ba. Wow, okay, so it's not sure, it's ba. Sata Nairupa Nairupa Nairupani Manantara Nairupani Manantara Yanante Po Iha Siatam Iha Ramyatam Kamani Yoyam Pogaho Kamani Yayam Kaniya Rasayanamidam Charamuritium. There's number 2. Murityu. Charamuritiyu. Yeah. Bhatate Paihaya Samidam Yanamami Kalpaduru Mah Punuyo. Manandakini Siddhata Maharshoya Uttama Anukula Apasaraso Divye Shrotana Chakushushri Vajropamaho Kayaho Svagunoiho Salvamidamupal Jitama Yushimat Salvamidamupal Jitama Yushimata. Pratipadiata Midamakushoya Majara Mama Rasatanam. Let me see if I could make it bigger. Maybe that's better. Alright. Pratipadiata Midamakushoya Majara Pratipadiata Midamakushoya Majara Mama Pratipadiata Midamakushoya Majara Mamara Pratipadiata Midamakushoya Majara Mamara Satanam Devanam Puriyamiti. Evamapiti Yamanaho Sanganga ne Pavayed Kor. Sorry. Sanganga ne Pavayed Koreshu Samsarangareshu Pachyamanena. I just want to say this word again. Oh, it's another thing. Okay. Samsarangareshu Pachyamanena. Sorry. Maya Janana Parano Takare Vipari Baltamanena Katamchida Saditaho. Kleshati Mirabinashi Yoga Prati Pastasya Chaite Trishino Yonayo. Vishvavayabaho Pratipakusho Sa Kaivaham Labuta lokaho katamanaya Vishoya muriga trishnoya Pachintasu tasyaiva Punaho pratiputasya Samsara guneratmana Samsara guneratmana mananti Samsara guneratmana minantani Samsara guneratmana minantani Guriyamiti Svasati paho Svapano pyaho Gripano jana pralta Gripano jana pralta niyapyo Pishoyapya Ityevam Nishichitamatiho Samatim Pavayat Sangangama Kritva Samayamapi na Kuriya Devamaham Devanamapi Praltaniya iti Samayadayam Samayadayam Susatitamaniataya Muritiyuna Kesheshu Grihitamivatmanam Na Pavayishyati Tata Jasya Juchidiranan Taraprekushvi Nityam Yatanopacharyaho Pramado Labutavivaraho Kleshanudatamam Payishyati Tataho Punaranishita Prasangangaho Evamasya Sangangasamayava Kulvato Pavitolto Dritui Pavishyati. Okay, last verse. Pavani Ashichal Topimuki. I'm gonna say that one more time. Pavani Ashichal Topimuki Pavishyati. Okay. And then after this, we got 4 more. If I could get through it, I'll be so happy. And once again, that was Sutra 51, but in this translation, it's 50. On the invitation of the residential chiefs, non-adoption of association and pride due to the possibility of connection with the evil again. These are indeed the 4 yogis. The Pratama Kalpita, the Matupumika, the Prajna Jyoti, and the Adikranta Pavaniya. They're the yogi, given to the practice and possessed of the light, just manifested, is the first. The second is he who is possessed of the intellective vision full of truth. The conqueror of the elements and the senses is the third, who is ever watchful for the preservation of all that have been produced and are to be produced, and who has done his duties and is persevering in the practice of means, etc. The fourth, however, is the Atikrantapavaniya. The dissolution of the mind is his only aim. His intellective vision with final ground is sevenfold. There the residential chiefs, that is, the gods, on seeing the purity of life of the Brahmana, who has been seeing the Matumati stage, invite him from all the places. Oh, sit here, be comfortable, this enjoyment is delightful, this girl is attractive, this elixir resists old age and death. This vehicle moves through the air. These trees fulfill all desires. Here is the sacred river Mandakini. Here are the perfect ones, the great seers, the beautiful obedient nymphs, the divine power of hearing and seeing, the adamantine body. All this has been earned through your own labor by you, the long-lived. Enjoy this indestructible, undecaying, and imperishable position dear to the gods. The yogi, being thus addressed, should contemplate upon the defects of the association. 1 second. Being burnt up with the horrible fire of the world and being turned about into the darkness of birth and death, somehow I have secured the light of yoga, which is the destroyer of the darkness of affliction. Further, these winds of sense objects, having their own origin in desire, are its opponents. How indeed can I, after obtaining the light, be deceived by this mirage of sense objects? How can I again make myself the fuel of that same blazing fire of the world? Adieu, ye visionary sense objects, ye are suitable to be begged by the foolish one. Thus the resolute yogi should produce the spiritual absorption. By not coming into the association, he should not assume any pride, even. Oh, I am such that I am entreated by the gods even. If he assumes the false idea of happiness from pride, he will never understand himself to be caught by the hair by death. Similarly, the inadvertence, ever heedful for a whole and full of effort, after getting its way, will uphold the afflictions. Thence there is the possibility of connection with evil again. Thus, the produced virtue of the yogi, who does not give himself up to the association and pride, will become firm, and the producible virtue will be nearing. And another translation. In case of invitations from those high places, these should arouse no attachment or pride, for undesired consequences recur. Now there are 4 kinds of yogins. Pratama Kalpika, Matupumika, Prajinya Jyoti, Sakranta Pavaniya. Of these, the first is observant of practice, for whom light is just beginning. The second has the truth-bearing insight. The third is he who has subjugated the elements and the organs, and who has provided means for keeping all that has been cultivated, and is yet to be cultivated, and who has the means of attainment and so forth, for what has been done and is yet to be done. But the fourth, who has passed beyond that which may be cultivated, has as his sole aim the resolving of the mind stuff. His is the sevenfold insight, advancing in stages to the highest. The purity of the sattva in that Brahman. Among these, who has directly experienced the honeyed stage, is observed by those in high places, the gods. With their high places they invite him. Sir, will you sit here? Will you rest here? This pleasure might prove attractive. This maiden might prove attractive. This elixir checks old age and death. This chariot passes through air. Yonder are the wishing trees. The stream of heaven confers blessedness. The sages are perfected. The nymphs are incomparable and not prudish. Eyes and ears supernal, the body like diamond. In consequence of your peculiar virtues, venerable sir, all these things have been won by you. Have entrance to this high place, which is unfading and ageless and deathless and dear to the gods. Thus addressed, let him ponder upon the defects of pleasure, baked upon the horrible coals of the round of rebirths, and writhing in the darkness of birth and of death. I have hardly found the lamp of yoga, which makes an end to the obscurations of the hindrances. And of this, the lust-born gusts of sensual things are enemies. How then could it be that I, who have seen its light, could be led astray by these things of sense, a mere mirage, and make of myself fuel for that same fire of the round of rebirths, as it flares up again? Fare ye well. Sensual things as dreams, and to be craved by vile folk. His purpose thus determined, let him cultivate concentration. Giving up attachment, let him not even take pride in thinking it is he that is thus urgently desired even by gods. Such a one, if in his pride he deem himself secure, will not feel as if he were one whom death hath gripped by the hair. And so heedlessness, on the lookout for his weak points and failures, and always carefully to be watched, will have found an opening and will arouse the hindrances. As a result of this, undesirable consequences recur. So then he who in this way does not become attached or take pride will attain permanently the purpose which he has cultivated within, and will find himself face to face with the purpose which he has yet to cultivate. I should start saying Namaste at the end of every sutra. Kushana Tata Paramayohu Samyamad Vivekajam Jnanam Yatha Pakarsha Pariyanantam Dravyam Paramanuravam Parama Pakarsha Pakarsha Pariyanantaho Kalaho Kushonu Yavata Va Samayena Chalitaho Paramanuho Pulvadesham Chahiya Dutara Desham Chahiya Dutara Desham Upasampadyata Sa Kalaho Kushonoho Tatuprapaha Bhikucheta Suttu Gramaho Kushono Tatakrama Yolna Sati Pasutu Samahara Iti Buddhati Samaharo Muhultaho, and there's a break between this word and the next. Okay, I could do this. Muhultaho Radadayahu Sa Karvayam Kalo Pasutushu Niopi Buddhati Nilmanoho Shabdajinyana Nupati Laukikanam Bhutitita Daishananam Pasutusvarupa Ivapasate Kusho no Sutu Pasutu Patitaho Gramaba Lamumbi Gramashicha Kushono Nanantariyatma Tam Kala Vidaho Kala Itya Chakushote Yoginaho Na Cha Devao Kushono Saha Pavataho Gramashicha Na Devayoho Saha Puvora Samphavat Pulvasuma Dudara Pavino, and there's number 1. Rasya Pulvasuma Dutarasya Pavino. Yada, we're starting here. Yada Nanantariyam Kushonosya Sa Gramahu Tasmad Vaitamana Evaikahu Kushono Na Pulvodetara Kushono Sanantiti Tasmanan nasati tatasamaharah. Ye tu putapabinah kushono sute parino manambita vyakyayah. Tenaikena kushonuena kritisno lokah parino mamanu pavati. I just want to double check this really quickly. Yeah, okay. Just one more time, that last word. Parino mamanu pavati. Tatakushono paru tatakushono paru toh. Karvami salve taimah tayoh kushono tatakaramayoh samyama tatayoh sa kusho takaranamu tatashicang vivekajam jinyanam pradulpavati. I apologize, but I kind of was stuttering there. Tatakushono paru toh karelbami salve taimah tayoh kushono tatakaramayoh samyama tatayoh sa kusho takaranamu tatashicang vivekajam jinyanam pradulpavati. Okay. Namaste. Forgive me. From the samyama upon the moment and its succession, the intellect-born knowledge. As the matter, reaching the limit of its diminution, is an atom, so the time reaching the extreme limit of its diminution is a moment, or that much of time by which an atom in motion gives up its previous position and reaches the next place is the moment. The uninterruption of the flow thereof is, however, the succession. The moment and its succession have no aggregation as a substance. It is but an intellectual aggregation as the muhurta, 48 minutes, the day, the night, etc. It is in fact this time which, although devoid of reality, becomes an intellectual creation following the literal idea. To ordinary persons with the exhibit of vision, it appears to be the real nature of the substance. The moment, however, falling under the head of reality, is supported by succession. Further, the succession possesses the nature of intervention of the moments. The yogis, who are the knowers of time, call it by the name of time. Again, two moments can never coexist. Also, the succession cannot happen to two coexistent moments on account of its impossibility. The immediate proximity of the latter moment, which happens just after the former, is the succession. Therefore, the present one is but the single moment. The former and the latter moments do not exist. Accordingly, there is no aggregation of them. On the other hand, those moments which happened and are to happen should be described as connected with the change. The whole world undergoes the change by that single moment. All the characteristics are in fact installed on that single moment. From the samyama upon the moment and its succession, the direct vision of them appears. Thence also the intellect-born knowledge manifests. Okay, so 52 is the longest. That's 53 in the original. This version is one sutra behind. So there's only 54 here, but the actual sutra is 55. So 3 left, and the next one is the longest. If I get through the next one, I'm gonna finish the book. Let's see. Yeah. It's pretty long. No, it's not that long. Okay, here we go. Namaste. Alright, nicotine break. If you've been following everything that I'm doing, I thank you very much. Namaste. Okay. Namaste. Nasya Vishaya Visheshu Upakushu Upakushi Piyate. Jati Lakushono Deshairanya. Jati Lakushono Deshairanya Tana Bakucheta Tutulia. Jati Lakushono Deshairanya Tana Bakucheta Tutulia Yosutataho. Almost. Jati Lakushono Deshairanya Tana Bakucheta Tutulia Yosut. Jati Lakushono Deshai. Jati Lakushono Deshairanyata Navakucheta Tutulia Yosutataho. Jati Lakushono Deshairanyata Navakucheta Tutulia Yosutataho. Pratipatiho. Tulia Yoldesha Lakushono Sarupye. Just one more time, sorry. Tulia Yoldesha Lakushono Sarupye. Jati Pedoniataya. And there's number 1. Yam. Jati Pedonia Tayam. Hetuho Gauriyam. Badabeyamiti. Tulia Desha Jati Yatve Lakushona Maniat Bakaram. Kala Kushri Gauho Sivasati Mati Gauriti. Deva Yora Malaka. Deva Yora Malaka Yoljati Lakushono Saru Pia de Deshak Pedoniat Bakara. Deva Yora Malaka Yoljati Lakushono Saru Pia de Desha. Deva Yora Malaka Yolja. Deva Yora Malaka Yoljati Lakushono Saru Pia de Desha Pedoniat Bakara. Yeah, I have a harder time when it's broken into the next lines. My eyes don't move as fast sometimes. Namaste. Tuvayora Malaka Yoljati Lakushono Saru Pia de Desha Pedoniat Bakara. Duvayora Malaka Yolja. Duvayora Malaka Yoljati Lakushono Saru Pia de Desha. Duvayora Malaka Yoljati Lakushono Saru Pia de Desha Pedoniat Bakara. I'm gonna take it. Idam Pulvamidam Udtaramiti. Yada tu Pulvamama Lakamania Viagracia Chinya Turutare. So we're up to here. Chinya Turutara Upa Baltiate. And there's number 2. Baltate. Upa Baltate. Tada. Tulia Deshatve. Pulva Meta Tutara Meta. Pulva Meta Purva metta dutara metta diti prabhipaganuppapati. Almost. Purva metta dutara metta. Purva metta dutara metta diti prabhipaganuppapatiho. Asamdigutena cha tat vajinyanena pavitavyamityata pavitavyamityata idamuktam tataho. Namaste, sorry. Pratipatatil vive Pratipatatil vivekaja Pratipatatil vivekaja jnanaditi katham pulva malaka sahakushono desha uttara malaka saha kushono desha de pinnaho uttara malaka saha kushono de desha ne almost. We're doing this word here. Uttara malaka sahaku Uttara malaka sahaku shono de desha de Uttara malaka sahaku shono de desha de pinnaho. Uttara malaka sahaku shono de desha ne pinnaho. Almost. Need nicotine. Uttara malaka sahaku shono de desha de pinnaho. Te jamalake Sivade shakushono nu pavan pinne. Sivade shakushono nu pava pinne. Sivade shakushono nu pava pinne. Sivade shakushono nu pava pinne. We're doing this word here. Sivade shakushono nu pava pinne. Sivade shakushono nu pava pinne. All right. Anya de shakushono nu pava Anya de shakushono nu pavasutu dayoranya teve heturiti etena dirishito nentena paramano sutulia jati lakushono deshasya pulva paramano desha sahakushono sakusho tukarano tututarasya pulva paramano desha sahakushono sa. It's like nothing's easy, huh? Pulva paramano desha sahakushono Pulva paramano desha sahakushono sakusho tukarano tututarasya. I'll take it. Paramano sutade. We're doing this word here. Paramano sutade deshano papatatano pututarasya. Paramano sutade deshano papatatan pututarasya. You know what? I'm gonna do this word again, the word before. Maybe I could. Pulva paramanu desha sakusho no sakusho tukara no tututarasya. Good enough. Next word here. Paramanosu, paramanosu, paramanosu tadu deshanu papateta pututarasya. Tadu deshanu papo. Pinnahu, sakusho no peda tayori shibarasya. Yogi no niyat vapratyayo. One more. Yogi no niyat vapratyayo bhavati iti. Appare tu palno yanantiya vishesho sutanyata pratyayam kulvananti iti. Tatrapi Deshalakusho no pedo multi vyavati jati. We're doing this word here. I'll just put it. Multi vyavati jati pedashijan yatve. Hetuhu Gusho no pedasutu yogi buddha tigamiya eveti. Atta ukatam multi vyaviti jati peda bhavananasati. Mula paritakatava miti bhaishaganya. You know what, I'm gonna do that word again. This word here goes to the next line. Whenever a word goes to the next line, sometimes it messes me up. Multivyavati jati peda bhavananasati. Mula paritakatava miti. Mula paritakatava. This word here. Mula paritakatava miti Vaishaganuyaha. Yay, 2 more left. Yeah, and this one's pretty short. And that one's just one page. So I'm gonna finish it. It's only been 43 minutes now. Okay. Namaste. Where am I? So this sutra is actually included in the paragraph, so I'm not going to read the sutra. The distinct sphere of that is being described. Thence comes the perception of two similar things when they are indistinguishable owing to the absence of separation of their difference by means of species, feature, and position. In the similarity of position and feature of two similar things, the difference of species is the cause of their differentiation. This is a cow, this is a mare, and so on. In the similarity of equal position and species, the feature causes their distinction. The cow with black eyes and the cow having white spot on head. On account of the conformity of species and feature of two embolic fruits, the difference of position is the cause of their distinction. It is the former, it is the latter. When, however, the former embolic fruit of an oar, whose attention is engaged elsewhere, is placed in the latter position, then from the similarity of positions, there comes the failure of their differentiation, such as it is the former, it is the latter. Further, it becomes possible only by means of the indubitable knowledge of reality. Hence it is said, thence comes the perception, that is, from the intellect-born knowledge. How? The position of the moment correlated with the former embolic fruit is different from the position of the moment correlated with the latter embolic. Further, these two embolic fruits are distinguished by the perception of the moments of their respective positions. The perception of the moment of different position becomes indeed the cause of their differentiation. By this example, with reference to the atoms possessed of similar species, feature, and position, the perception of that position of the latter is different, due to the difference of the correlated moments and the ascertainment of the respective position of the latter atom from the direct observation of the moment correlated with the position of the former atom. This cognition of differentiation comes to the yogi who has mastery over these two. Others, however, describe that those that are the last peculiarities cause the cognition of differentiation. Even there, the difference of position and feature and also the difference of form, intervening space, and species are the cause for the differentiation. The difference of moment, however, can be grasped only by the yogi's intellect. Hence, it is said that by Shakanuya, that on the absence of the difference of form, intervening space, and species, there is no difference in the root. So, does this cursor show when I do this? Okay, so I'll keep it. As a result of constraint upon moments and their sequence, the knowledge proceeding from discrimination. Just as the atom is the minimal limit of matter, so the moment is the minimal limit of time. Or the time taken by an atom is in motion in order to leave one point and reach the next. The time taken by an atom in motion in order to leave one point and reach the next point is a moment. But the continuous flow of these is a sequence. Moments and the sequences of these cannot be combined into a real. Hours of 8 and 40 minutes, days of 30 such hours, and so on are combination. Oh, so this is the sutra before. I forgot to read the, I apologize. So I'm going to do two readings here because I didn't read 52 of this version the last time. Doesn't kind of matter because once you listen to Sanskrit, it kind of gets ingrained in the brain. So hours of 8 and 40 minutes, days of 30 such hours, and so on are combinations by a mental process. Thus, time being of this nature does not correspond to anything real, but is a structure by a mental process, and follows as a result of perceptions or of words. To the ordinary thinking of the emergent mind, it might appear as if it were real, but the moment does come within the objects and rests upon the sequence. Furthermore, the sequence has its essence in an uninterrupted succession of moments. This is called time by experts in time, so the yogins use the term. For two moments cannot occur simultaneously, because it is impossible that there be a sequence between two things that occur simultaneously. When a later moment succeeds an earlier without interruption, there is a sequence. Thus in the present, there is a single moment and there are no earlier or later moments. Therefore, there is no combination of them. But those moments which are past and future are to be explained as inherent in the mutations. Accordingly, the whole world passes through a mutation in any single moment. So, all those external aspects of the world are relative to this present moment. By constraint upon moments and their sequence, both are directly perceived. And as a result of this, the knowledge proceeding from discrimination comes about. Okay, so I was supposed to read that. I forgot to read the last sutra in this English version. I just read it. It's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to read this now. And then after this, 2 more sutras, and then we're done with book 3. I'm kind of excited. This the Yoga Sutra is really powerful. Just the fact that a lot of the words are harder to pronounce than some other books. It makes you really like exercise your mind. Okay. The particular that is the object of this is brought forward. As a result of this, there arises the deeper knowledge of two equivalent things which cannot be distinctly qualified in species or characteristic mark or point of space. If two equivalent things resemble each other in point of space and in characteristic mark, it is the difference in species which makes distinguish between them. For instance, this is a cow, that is a mare. If the place and the species be equivalent, it is the characteristic mark that makes distinguish between them. For instance, this cow has black eyes, that cow is lucky. Since two myrobalan fruits resemble each other in species and in characteristic mark, it is the difference as to point of space that makes distinguish between them. For instance, this one is in front, this is behind. But when the myrobalan, which was in front, is put, while the attention of him who is intuitive, is elsewhere occupied, in the place of the one behind, then if the places are equivalent so that one would think, that is the one in front, that is the one behind, a right classification is impossible, since the right view of things must be free from doubt, it was said. As a result of this, there arises the deeper knowledge, as a result of the knowledge proceeding from discrimination. How is this? The point of space coincident with the myrobalan in front is distinct from the point of space coincident with the myrobalan behind. And the two myrobalans are distinct in that they pass through the incidents peculiar to their own points of space. But it is this passing through the incident belonging to another point of space that is the cause of the distinction between the two. This example illustrates how the Supreme Yogin has the presented idea of the difference between two atoms as a result of his direct experience of the point of space coincident with the atom in front, which atom is equivalent in species and characteristic mark and point of space. The reason for this is that the distinction is between the coincidents. Inasmuch as it is impossible that an atom which is behind can have the point of space of the one, the passing of the atom behind through its own point of space is different. Others, however, describe these particulars, which are ultimates, produce the idea of the difference. Even in this, the difference as to the point of space and as to the characteristic mark, and the difference as to limitation and extent, and as to the intervening space and as to species, a cause of distinction. But it is the difference as to the incident that is accessible to the thinking substance of the yogin only. Therefore it has been said, since there is no difference as to limitation and extent, or by reason of intervening space or of species, there is no distinction in the root. So says Baal Shakanuya. Okay, two more, and then I'm closer to healing. And the next one is not that long, and so is 55 is 55. When you get to the last part, you're too excited to even care. Okay, let me vape nicotine. And as I've mentioned before, I'm gonna be studying this. There are 4 books in the Yoga Sutra. I'm gonna be studying them, the whole thing, over and over and over until either I heal or until I memorize it somehow. If you read, something in Sanskrit like 18 times, you might memorize it. But you can't do it every day. You can't do it continuously. Tarakam saiva vishoyam saivata vishoyam akramam jati vivekajam jnanam. And the exception being is, the mantras. Mantras are designed to be recited over and over repetitiously. Not everything is like that. Tarakamiti Sivaprati potata, with this word here. Sivaprati potata mano padeshika mityatahu. Sivaprati potatamano. Svaprati potata manaopade. Svaprati potata. Svaprati potata manaopade. Svaprati potata. Svaprati potata. Svaprati potata manaopade. Svaprati pot. Svaprati. Svaprati potata manaopade shika. Svaprati potata. Svaprati. I'm sorry. Svaprati potata manaopade shika. Svaprati potata. Svaprati. Alright. Take a breather. This is my theory, but Sanskrit itself, since it's a living language, I believe, it has to let you to be able to read it. Svaprati potata. Svaprati potata. Svaprati potata manaopade shikaka my mityatahu. Namaste. Svaprati potata manaopade shika my Svaprati potata manaopade potata. Svaprati potata manaopade shika mityatahu. I'll take it. Saiva Vishoyam Nasya Kimchida Vishoyi Bhutamityarthahu Saivata Vishoyamati Tanagata Pratiyutpan Saivata Vishoyamati Tanagata Pratiyutpananam Saivam Pariyayaihu Saivata Janati Tyarthahu Akramamityekakushonupar Akramamityekakushonupar no Akramamityekakushonupar Saivam Saivata Grihunoti Tyarthahu Vivek. Sorry. Now I'm being interrupted. It's like Ettad Vivekajam Jnanam Paripurnamu Asyaivam Sho Yogi Pradipo Matumatim Bhumimupadaya Yavadasya Parisamaptiriti. Alright, and then after this is the last one. I'm just gonna get through it. Doesn't look easy, but yeah, even the first word is pretty long. The intellect-born knowledge is the rescuer, has the sphere of all objects, has the sphere of all conditions, and also has no succession. The rescuer means that it comes out of one's own genius and is not born of instruction. Has the sphere of all objects means that it has nothing left which is not within its sphere. Has the sphere of all conditions means that it knows all, whether the past, the not yet come, and the present with all systems and with all conditions. Has no succession means that it takes all to be installed on the single moment in all respects. This intellect-born knowledge is a complete whole. The yoga light beginning from the Matumati stage up to its last limit is only a part of this. The other translation. The knowledge proceeding from discrimination is a deliverer, has all things as its object, and has all time for its object, and is without sequence. The word deliverer means that it arises out of its own vivid light, without further suggestion, where it has all things for its object. This means that there is nothing that is not its object. It has all times for its object. This means that it has intuitive knowledge at all times of one whole, past and future and present, with its states. An inclusive whole without sequence means that it grasps one whole, striking upon it at one moment with all its times. Such in its complete form is the knowledge proceeding from discrimination. Of this same, the lamp of yoga is a part, beginning with the Hanit stage until it reaches final perfection. Alright, last one. Okay, it's a little longer study today, but yeah, I want to get through it. It's good for me. Namaste. Prapta viveka jinya. Prapta viveka jinya nasya prapta. Prapta viveka jinya nasya prapta. Prapta viveka jaj. Prapta vivek. Prapta viveka jajin. Prapta vivek. Namaste. Okay, nicotine break. Last one for one for the last verse. Last sutra. Prapta viveka jajinya nasya. Prapta viveka jajinya nasya. Va. Sattva purushayoho judati samye. I'm gonna check if it's connected with the next word or not. No, it's not. Okay. Kaivalyamiti. And that is part of the sutra. The big letters are the sutras or sutra. And the smaller letters are the comments by Vyasa. And it was written at least 5,000 years ago. So I'm going to read the ending part of the sutra itself, because the sutra was written at least 10,000 years ago, and it didn't have the comments back then, so just once. Iti Shri Patanjali Vira. Iti Shri Patanjali Virachit. Shri Patanjali Virachita Yoga. Shri Patanjali Virachita Yoga Sutreshu Tritiyo Vibhuti Padaho. Okay. Namaste. Yada Niltutara Jasata Mumalam Mudati Satavam Purushasya Nyata Pratiti. I'm gonna read this one more time. Since it's the last one, I wanna do better. It's just me. Niltutara Jasatamu Malam Buddhati Satavam Purushasya Nyata Pratiti Matra. Purushasya Nyata Pratiti Matra Tikaram. And there's number 1. And it doesn't have number 1. Where is number 1? Oosh. Okay. So they forgot to include the alternative version. So I'm gonna compare with just 2 other versions. I have 3 other versions. Pratyaya. So that's what they probably meant to include. Okay, so I'm gonna just read that one, and let me just see what this one has. So this one is same thing as the one that I just read. I think that'll suffice. But let me quadruple check here. Where is it? Okay, so this is also the same as the one that I just read. So it must be this version. Let me double check here. Yeah, okay. Purushasya nyata pratyaya matra tikaram. Yeah, that one's the easiest to read, but it's not that reliable for me because that seems to be the most modern version or modernized version, and it doesn't have like this. The one that I'm reading has the alternatives or text that may have been changed, and it's not even that complete. But that kind of like I feel better reading this version. Nagata klesha bijam pavati tada purushasya shudati sarupya miba pananam shudati sarupya miba shudati sarupya miba pananam pavati. Sorry, I'm repeating over and over for some reason more than before, and that looks fuzzy now. Like, what's the term? Being compulsive. Yeah, okay. Pavati, Namaste. We're almost there. Just several lines left, and that's it. Tada Purushasyopa Purushasyopacha Purushasyopacarita Poga Pavaha Shudatiha Etasyam Abasutayam Kaivalyam Pavati Shivarasya Ni Shivarasya Pa Vivekaja Jnana Pagina Itarasya Pa Nahi Dagata Klesha Bijasya Jnane Punarapekushu Gachidasati. Everything looks pretty easy. Maybe one word might take some time, and this one, the one that I'm just gonna read now, but otherwise it looks pretty okay. Sattva Shuddhati Sattva Shuddhati Divare Sattva Shuddhati Divare Noitat Samatija Mai Shivaryam. I'm being compulsive. I'm pretty sure there's a dot there. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Okay. Man, that's not even the word. Sattva. Where's Sattva? Yeah, they made up a different word. That's why I don't read this version, because it's different from that other one. So let me triple check here. Maishvariya, there's no dot. And the fourth version, see, this one has a dot, so I'm gonna go with the dot. This is another reliable version, but I don't read it because it doesn't have the alternatives or the text that may have been changed. It doesn't have that. This one does. That's why I read this. Sattva Shuddhati Dvara Sattva Shuddhati Dvara Noi Tat Samadhi Jamai Shivariyam. Concentrate. Sattva Shuddhati Dvara Noi Tat Samadhi Sattva Shuddhati Dvara Noi Tat Samadhi Jamai Shivariyam Jnanam Chopakranan Tamu. Paramal Tasutu. Ooh, I pronounced that wrong when that makes me mad. But I make stupid mistakes like that. Like I skip a character of a word. So it's supposed to sound like Paramal Tatasutu Jnana Dadaishanam Nivartate Dasaminani Vritite Na Sanantiyut Tare Kleshahu. Alright, there's 3 more verses left, and then we're done with book 3. For now, I'm gonna do it over and over and over and over. Klesha Paba Tekalma Vipaka Pabahu Charita Tikara Shichaita is Laplasinus. Chaitasya, the single T. Single T. Single T. Okay. This word here. Charita Tikara Chaitasya Mabas Charita Tikara Chaitasya Mabasutayam Kuno Na Purushasya Punaldirishyat Punaldirishyat Venop Punaldirishyat Venopati Shtanute Punaldirishyat Venopati Shtanute Tatu Purushasya Kaivalyam Tada Purushaha Svaru Pamatara Jyotiramalahu Kavali Pavati. Namaste. Yay. Alright, the last sutra. This is included here somewhere. Let me show you if I could concentrate. Yeah. So they changed the sentence a little bit, but it is included in there, trust me. With reference to the yogi, whether possessed of the intellect-born knowledge or not possessed of the intellect-born knowledge, absoluteness comes from the coincidence of purity of both the accents and the Purusha. When the intellective essence, being freed from the dirt of the active and the inner energies, and being possessed of the only duty of the cognition of distinction of the Purusha, gets the seed of afflictions burnt up, then he seems to have obtained the conformity of the Purusha's activity, purity. At that time, the absence of experience represented to him is the purity of the Purusha. In that state, absoluteness comes to the yogi whether powerful or not powerful, or whether he be the possessor of the intellect-born knowledge or not, because the yogi whose seat of afflictions has been burnt up has no further dependence upon knowledge. The power and the knowledge born of spiritual absorption has been dealt with in accordance with the purity of the intellective essence. However, in reality, non-observation disappears with the appearance of knowledge. On its cessation, there can be no further afflictions. From the absence of the afflictions comes the absence of action and fruition. In that state, the energies with their duties finished no more appear before the Purusha as the perceivable. This is the absoluteness of the Purusha. At that time, the Purusha, being pure and shining with the only light of his own manifestation, becomes absolute. And that was, I think this is the one that was in parenthesis that I read. Here ends the third chapter, known as the subject of the accomplishments with regard to the science of yoga, composed by Patanjali in the excellent teaching of the Sankhya. And this version. In either case, whether one has attained to knowledge proceeding from discrimination or has not attained to knowledge proceeding from discrimination, when the purity of the sattva and of the self are equal, isolation. When the sattva of the thinking substance is freed from the defilement of the rajas and tamas, and when it has no task other than with the presented idea of the difference of it from the self, and when the seeds of the hindrances within itself have been burnt, then the sattva enters into a state of purity equal to that of the self. When this is so, purity is the cessation of the experience which is falsely attributed to the self. In this state, isolation follows for one who has supremacy or for one who has not supremacy, for one who partakes of the knowledge proceeding from discrimination or for another. For if there be knowledge in the case of one whose hindrances have become burnt seed, there is no further need of any. As being the means of purifying the sattva, both the supremacy proceeding from concentration and the knowledge have been introduced into the discussion. But strictly speaking, the knowledge represses not sight. When this is repressed, there are no more hindrances. Because there are no more hindrances, there is no fruition of karma. In this state, the aspects, their task done, do not again submit themselves as object for sight to the self. That is the self's isolation. Then the self, having its light within itself, becomes undefiled and isolated. Now I'm going to read the finishing verse. And then we're done. Iti Shri Patanjali Samkhya Parabhachane Yoga Sutras Vyasa Pashuye Vibhuti Padasatriti Yahu. And this one doesn't have that translation, so this is it. Of the exposition of the comment on the Patanjalan, the book on supernormal powers, the third. Yeah, like 5,000 years ago, if you heard this once, then you would get liberated, or at least like halfway there. Times are different now. You just have to study it over and over and over until you get it, and it'll show what my fluency of the sutras and the comments. Right now, everything is broken, but you gotta start somewhere, and just by pronouncing it once. Sanskrit is different than any other language. It's more like computer programming language, so it gets somehow like ingrained in it goes somewhere in the brain. Parts of your brain memorize it. So the next time you do it, you'll have an easier time saying it, and the next time it gets easier, and even more easier. And even this is my third or fourth time, I forget. And once you get to like 18 times of reading the whole book, you will, I hope that I will be fluent in reciting it without having it broken. And with that, also my health, my I don't like saying the word fatal wound, but it is what it is. I will heal more and more with the reading. So that's why I do what I do. I think I'm finished. Yeah, we got through book 3. Next one is called Isolation, and this one is called Absoluteness. They mean the same thing. Basically, if you're perfected, your isolation is not a positive word in this society anymore. But it means you don't need anything, and if anything, if you need something, it'll just come to you. You become. It's basically you're becoming a small god, and whether you believe it or not, that's what it is. So onward to godliness. Thank you very much. Namaste. Thank you for following. It's sorry for the rough reading. Yeah, tomorrow. Absoluteness. Yeah. Sorry, it was a rough day today. Namaste. Thank you.